And welcome back to Jeff Koinange Live here at Citizen Television. We're here live with the U.S.'s top diplomat in Kenya, U.S. Ambassador Kyle McCarter. Balozi, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Welcome, man. Tough night, huh?
Yeah, it's exciting. At least say that.
Yeah, okay, exciting, yes. And you know what? We're not going to know any results for quite a while. Let's just say that from the get-go. It's not, even though Biden has 237 out of 270, Trump right now, according to CNN, has 213. We're not going to know for a while, right?
I don't think so. I think this is a matter of days. It could be a matter of weeks. There's going to be legal process. This goes through. You know, every legal vote has to be counted. Now, I say that, and that an illegal vote should not be counted. And there's going to be a question as to what's legal and what's not.
Yeah. And
so that process is going to take some time, and we should be willing to wait to make sure that this is a fair election. And in the meantime, I think we have to be committed to peace. We have to be committed to just the legal process. And so I think it's going to take some time for that to happen.
But also, have you been reading the Kenya election playbook from 2013 or 2017? What is this? It's going to take days or it's going to take weeks? What do you mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, it's not. There's no tactics to delay on purpose. Yeah, I think it's going to have to go through that legal process. I mean, you have to remember this is that process is starting at a local court, going to a state court, going to a federal court, and most likely the Supreme Court. And so it's going to take time. It's going to take time for that. Again, we have to get it right, and I believe we will get it right.
Okay, before the break, I asked you to explain this electoral college vote, whatever it means, right? The magic number 270.
Right.
And why, after 130 plus million people have voted, why are we looking at that magic 270? What does that mean, Balozi?
Because that's the majority out of the 538 electoral votes that is assigned by population to all of the states. You have to remember that the states are the ones that cast the vote for the president. The popular vote determines that whether that state is going to go to which candidate that's going to go to. And so that 270 is the tipping point of the 538.
Biden 237. What if he gets Michigan? Okay, the contested states are Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, and even possibly in Georgia as well. Yeah. If he gets to 270 with the numbers we're seeing right now,
yeah,
and he's declared the winner, and then I'm sure.
Well, you can't. I can declare you the winner. Are you the winner? No, I don't think so. I mean, you can't just declare someone the winner. You have to actually go through that process of those votes being certified in the states, and they have to be legal. And so everybody gets caught up, I think, because the news networks say, well, they declared a winner here. The news networks don't declare winners. The election boards in the states declare the winners. And so, and you can do that. You can go to one channel to another, just as we could this morning. We watched it, and one network had it at one number, another network had it at another number. The media does not declare winners in presidential elections in the United States, as much as sometimes you think they may want to. It just doesn't happen that way. And so this has got to go through a legal process. It's going to go through a legal process. Every legal vote should be counted, and those that are not legal should not. And so, and that's going to take a little time.
And you think there are a lot of illegal votes? Is that what you're trying to say, Balozi? Or
well, it does happen, and if that's the case, those need to be thrown out.
Are we talking about America here? Or are we talking about third world countries?
Well, look, here's the United States is expected to set the example. I got that, but we're not perfect. We're not perfect. We are growing up as a democracy just like Kenya is. Now, we've had some success. and we're going to continue to have success. But every democracy has to make decisions, just like Kenya does. We make the decisions, and sometimes you look back and you say, "Wow, that was not a good move. We'll never do that again." Or you may make some good decisions and say, "We better repeat it." And so, we're not perfect. And another thing, we're not lecturing anybody. I hear this online. You quit lecturing. Not lecturing. Listen, we're experiencing this democracy just like everybody else is. And the fact that we're friends, the fact that Kenya and the United States have a special relationship, and that we can sit here and talk about it tonight. I mean, not every country can do that, right? You don't go on TV right after election and talk about this, but we do, because that's the relationship that we admit. We're not perfect, but we're going to do the best we can, and we're going to be the best friend we can to Kenya to promote and support and build capacity for democracy, and systems of law and order. And that's the thing. I mean, we're going to go through that process. Whatever it is, we're going to go through it, and whatever the result is, that's what it is. And I, as a political appointee, this is quite important to me. And so because I believe we have so many good things going on in this relationship with President Trump and President Kenyatta today. I mean, let's go to the free trade agreement. This was I mean, I sat in the office where President Trump said to Secretary of Commerce, "Bob, can you get this done?" And he said, "Yes, sir, we can." I mean, we've been on that pathway ever since. And it's moving, and it's moving forward, and we're doing well together. It's going to take some time. Hopefully we'll get it done by the end of next year. But the end result of that is going to be prosperity for the Wananchi in Kenya. And it's going to be prosperity for us too. I always tell you that the free trade agreement is not, this is about America first, but this is also about Kenya first. And
Kenya's the first country in Africa to benefit from this?
Sub-Saharan Africa,
in Sub-Sahara.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, look, so if Trump doesn't win, and I'm glad you put that disclaimer that you're a political appointee, if he doesn't win, does that affect the FTA?
Well,
do we know?
Let me just put it this way. I don't think I'm in a position to predict what it will do, but what we don't want to do is lose momentum. We don't want to lose this momentum with the FTA, because it has the possibility to really take this relationship with the United States and Kenya from what has previously been dominated by aid to trade. And I carry with me a list of about $16 billion US dollars of investments that people are actually looking at based on this free trade agreement. And that's good for the country. That's good for Kenyans. And so I want to see the momentum stay. I want it to keep going. I feel I've got the best ability to do that under the leadership of President Trump. But I think I can't really predict that. I want that, though. I want that continued momentum for the good and the prosperity of both of our countries.
Look, the last time you guys had a bit of an issue, a hiccup, was back in 2000. Remember, hanging chads and all that stuff in Florida.
This could be the mother of all hanging chads. I think. I think this could just be. I mean, you gotta. It's at some point you gotta laugh. I mean, it's serious business, and it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be serious legal business. Yeah. But we have to. You know what? We have to. As I said this morning to a group, we just pray for peace. Pray for peace. Pray for a fair election, and let's just let it go through the process. You know, there was some people rioting last night, and I've been thinking, what are you rioting about? You don't even know. Yeah. I mean, if you know, let us know what's happening, because the rest of us really don't know. So what are you rioting, about? But we need peace, and the same thing as Kenya goes through these, into its next election. We want peace. We want the people to make a decision as to who their leadership is going to be, and then we both live with that. We live with who we choose. Kenya lives with who they choose. You know, Balozi, you mentioned a moment ago about living in peace, and also you guys being a democracy and still learning, and 244-year-old democracy. Yeah.
And yes, it's not perfect, but you guys are good when your losers concede. Your losers are quick to concede.
Yeah.
Except this time.
Right.
No one wants to. President Trump doesn't want to concede. I mean, if Biden gets to
nor would I concede to an election that I didn't think was legal. I mean, nor would I to a vote count that was possibly not legal. All we have to do is verify whether it's legal. That's all we have to do. And so we're going to go through that process and determine what the real votes are, and whatever the outcome is, I know he'll accept that. So some basic things. There's a date set for the election. There's a time that the polling place closes. You can't extend that. You can't say, listen, I need a few more votes. You can vote tomorrow as well. No one does that. There are basic rules in an election. And I've gone through a lot of elections, so I this is kind of a tough situation for me because one, I'm not on the ballot, but I am kind of as the political appointee.
Right.
But I've been through 9 elections, and I tell you, the waiting for those results in that day is a tough experience. I feel like I'm going through one right now, and I didn't have to campaign a bit. But I didn't, at least I didn't have to spend any money on it because I spent a lot of money on elections and won and lost. But, this is, it's tough. It's a tough situation, but we'll get through it. We got laws. We got laws that regulate it. And all we're saying is, if the votes are legal, we're going to count them.
Even if it takes until whatever December, inauguration is supposed to be.
Remember, back in 2000, it took a while.
Yeah.
And like I said, we may find that this is this election is the mother of all hanging chads. I mean, it may be tougher than that.
What do you think the message America's sending to the world? I mean, like you said, you're the example. You're the example.
I think is exactly what I said. We're not perfect. We've got a challenge here, and we're going to overcome it by using the law, and we're going to follow the law, abide by the law, and accept the law. And and again, it just may take some time.
Are you fearful? And I have to ask this question because a lot of people are asking. Are you fearful there might be some post-election violence? Because Washington D.C. was all boarded up yesterday in anticipation. You think there'll be some PEVs in the U.S.?
Well, I think that was done because if there was a clear winner, maybe one side wouldn't like it. I don't know. And that's why I said it's so absurd that there would be anybody getting rowdy or getting angry, because I don't even think they know what they would be angry about. But no, we don't want that. No one wants that. Protest, okay. Rioting, damaging property, no. I mean, we have the freedom to express ourselves, just as we do tonight, and I expect that's going to happen in the States as well. But rioting is not needed, and it shouldn't be tolerated.
Yeah, but it just might happen, Balozi. Let's face it, it could happen.
We hope not. We hope not.
Okay, look, what's to stop Trump from, conceding? What's to stop him? Let's just face it, 270 magic number. He didn't quite make it. He had a good run. A lot of people, 65 million people plus.
I think when the votes are verified, he'll do exactly that, one way or the other, win or lose.
All right, what happens to you if he loses?
Well, I don't know. I'm a little different type of political appointee. I didn't get appointed because I gave a lot of money and because I was, one of these guys that lived down in Florida at the same golf club. I was fortunate to be appointed because I do have a lot of friends in the Congress, and they've been good to me. And I think too, they knew that I had some experience in the country, and I didn't ask for any other country. I didn't say make me an ambassador anywhere you want to so I can just have the title ambassador. I specifically said this is where I wanted to be, because this is the country where I have experience, and there's people here that I care for. I care for the country. I want the country to be prosperous. I want prosperity for all of those kids that Victoria and I raised. and helped raise and sponsored and have lifted up, literally taking kids out of a ditch and raising them up in school and giving them an education. We want those kids, those same kids that have studied with us and we've helped, to have opportunity. And so that was my reasoning for, you know, asking to be an ambassador here. And so that hasn't changed. And so because that hasn't changed, we'll see what happens.
And there's a place that people don't know. There's a place in Tarakanithi named after your father, right? It's called Kwamakata.
Yeah, Makata,
for,
yes.
you know, for lack of a better, Makata, but
yeah.
Makata.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So what was your experience there? Tell us, those who don't know. How did you end up in Tarakanithi?
Well, it was my father came in '84, and there was a drought, and there was a cholera epidemic, and he was a teacher at what is now the Methodist University, and he left and started helping, literally picking people off the roadside. And then he started bringing in food, bringing in dawa, and then 3 years later, I came and replaced him. Built a medical clinic there, and then we built a school, and then we built the children's home. So overall, all those many years, it's been something that we've poured ourselves into, and very, like I said, we're very happy. We're very proud of those young people that have grown up and have an opportunity. And here now, I have the opportunity to go right back to the FDA. I mean, there's no reason for Kenya to be just dependent on foreign aid. I mean, there's no reason for this. They have Kenya has everything that they need to be successful and be the leader for all of East Africa, and this FTA is going to create the ground rules for how we do business. I mean, if you know, we're just not going to do business the brown envelope way. We're not going to do that. Besides that, the Foreign Practices Act would put us in jail and fine us, you know, millions of dollars. So this will lay the groundwork for how this 16 billion plus can be invested in Kenya and bring real prosperity to the Wananchi.
There are people, critics, who ask, what's the difference between the FTA, this free trade agreement, and what was there before? It's still there.
AGOA.
Africa Growth and Opportunities Act, AGOA. What's the difference?
Well, AGOA was a one-way agreement. That was something that we offered Kenya, and they somewhat took advantage of. Not really. Didn't take advantage of a lot of it. And it's going to go away, 2025. So we want this FTA to supersede it. We want it to replace it, amplify it, and be in place when that goes away. And that's a two-way. That's how we help each other. And like I said, we think this will be the replica. This will be the pattern for what everybody else will want to do. And some people say, well, why Kenya? Because Kenya's special. I mean, we didn't choose the neighbors. We chose Kenya because there's a special relationship. And so that special relationship, I just want to see it keep going. I want to see the momentum going. Whoever's in office, I'd like to see that momentum for prosperity continue for Kenya.
You think it's going to happen, though? You think it's going to happen, or is it going to be slowed down? Because obviously, when you talk about 16 billion US, that's a lot of money.
Well, is FTA going to happen? Oh, I believe so. I believe we're both sides are coming to the table, and we're hitting the benchmarks. And some discussions are going to be tougher than others. But I believe we can do it. Again, I believe President Trump's the best one to actually get behind it and make it happen. He's kind of like that. If he says he's going to get something done, he won't let you off the hook. He'll make sure it's done. And so obviously it would be better for me if we just continue in this way. But other than that, you know what? It was quite the miracle that I got here. I'm sure that my exit plan at any time, whether it be in the near future or later on, will be taken care of. Yeah,
and President Trump gets along quite well with President Kenyatta, don't they?
So well, so well. It's a very unique relationship, and that's why I think we have so much potential because of that.
Tell me something, Balozi. Someone once said, or told me the other day, Republican administrations deal a lot better with Kenya and Africa than Democratic administration. Is that true? And looking back, George W. Bush's PEPFAR, huge.
$8.5 billion US was invested in PEPFAR. Under the Republican administrations, the United States has invested more and had greater success. You're right. And I think this is just that next. I think this is the next story to the PEPFAR story, and where we save generations, with that program. I mean, there are people alive today because of that, and I think this new effort to go from aid to trade will be a model that the rest of Africa will want to follow.
Well, as you take your eye off the U.S. election for just a moment and come back to our present situation, the Building Bridges Initiative, BBI. Your thoughts about that?
Well, here's the thing. This is really not. It's not my decision. It's not the United States' decision. This is a conversation that Kenya has to have as to what the future is going to look like for them, how they're going to modify the Constitution, if so, how they're going to amend that via referendum or however they do it. We support Kenya having the conversation. It's not for me to pick and choose what part of BBI I like, I don't like. I don't get a vote, and I really don't want to vote. But we support Kenyans. BBI becoming the voice of the Kenyan people, and not just the voice of politicians. And I think that's where, and if that's the case, if that happens, I think it can be a good thing. Whatever whatever the people decide can be a good thing. Now, are they going to make a mistake like we've made mistakes before? Yeah, they will. But it'll be something the Kenyan people own and can look at and decide whether they change it in the future.
What was it you said at Bomas the other day? Did you say there's a fear that it might be hijacked or so? What did you say at Bomas?
Yeah, I said, we shouldn't allow the politicians to hijack the conversation. And a lot of times when I say I support the conversation of BBI, they say, oh, you're for BBI, therefore you're in this political camp. That's not true. That's not true at all. We want the people's voice to be heard. And if the people's voice is heard, we think it'll be good for Kenya.
Even if it means distributing power in the executive? You know, because that's what some people say. Oh, it's about you got a prime minister, a president, 2 deputies, deputy prime ministers. Is that what it turns out to be?
It looks. I mean, that's what's there. I mean, that's what's being proposed. Whether that actually happens, we'll see. I don't know whether it will or not. Yeah. Again, it's not for us to orchestrate. It's not for the United States to orchestrate how Kenya goes forward and as they grow up in their democracy. We can support. We will go and walk side by side, building capacity as a democracy, taking Kenya down that pathway from aid to trade and becoming self-reliant. We're going to do that. But as to the citizens make that decision, not the United States. We're guests. I'm a guest here. As much as I love Kenya, I'm still a guest here. And it's really for the people to decide. But you don't want the people's voice to be drowned out by a lot of political kelele.
Yeah. But let's face it, the handshake was a good thing.
Anything that brings peace is a good thing, and I think that's and obviously we were involved in that. Mm-hmm. And you know, if you said again today, would you be involved in helping to bring peace in a tumultuous time, a tumultuous political time? And I would. Now, whatever decisions you make, those are your decisions. But whatever we can do to bring peace, we'll do that.
You know, Balozi, maybe you guys could use a handshake on your end.
Yeah, that's been said, but I think this is a philosophical divide here. This is not just personalities. Although President Trump has a very unique personality, and but I'll tell you, I mean, what was offered in this election were two very different roads to go down for the country, very, very different. And I really do believe that President Trump has offered, and he's acted. He's doing exactly what he said he would do. And as coming from as a politician, I probably lost some elections because I didn't act like a politician. And I just talked about what really needed to be talked about, and I said what I thought people needed to hear, and I spoke for what people were saying. And the politicians, they don't take this lightly, and they spend a lot of money against you. And I think that's the difference here. President Trump's not a politician, and he has gotten a lot done. And what was offered was two ways of doing things. It's not just about personalities, and so. The people of the United States are going to get to choose.
Absolutely. But if I could just say one thing, if he had just chosen to listen just once to the experts or the scientists when it came to Corona or COVID-19, if he had just chosen to listen, because now...
Oh, no, I think he did. I think he did, and I think he...
With 100,000 COVID positive
Listen, it's obvious we've been hit harder than anybody. And we've had a greater challenge than anybody. But he acted quickly, and he has put in motion the PPEs, the manufacturing, so much so that he geared up manufacturing on ventilators so quickly and in such enormous capacity that now they're coming to Kenya.
Below 230,000 deaths.
Well, listen, one death is awful. And I mean, do you know what the prediction here was? 360,000 deaths at first, and because it came late to Kenya had the ability to look back at some of the people that had made some good decisions and put in place some good practices and did that. So Kenya's leadership has made some really good decisions as to how to deal with COVID. I believe President Trump did the best anybody could do, and so again, we were hit harder, a lot harder, and but we have to be honest that things were going really well for the president. And then this hit, and it really changed the whole narrative. It changed the whole environment of the election, and so that is what it is. But I tell you, I think he made a decision to keep people from coming into the country much earlier than anybody had even thought about. And so I think he's done a great job. And now even the United States, in the midst of that, with all the deaths that you just quoted, has spent billions of dollars on other people in other countries, including Kenya. Over $72 million in COVID response. The 200 ventilators that are now here, and they're going to the hottest areas in the country. Not just the ventilator. Now remember, some people put some ventilators out on the dock, and somehow they never got there. But these are coming with training for the individuals. They're coming with service contracts. They're coming with ways to power them and keep them powered no matter what happens. And we just presented the first tranche of those down in Mombasa in this last weekend. And new ones, the next ones will be going to Eldoret. They'll be going to Nakuru, and I believe to Embu, that where they're needed the most. So in the midst of all of this, the United States has continued to be the most generous, and I think that's just what we do.
And yet, Pelosi, you see in Europe, Italy's shutting down, Germany's shutting down, France is shutting down, the UK, they're all on lockdown.
Yeah.
And the U.S. continues like life is normal because, again, of leadership. I mean, let's face it, some decisions aren't the best.
You can't, in a country where you have no freedom and your leaders tell you what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and what the consequences is going to be if you don't do it, that's one situation. But in the United States, we're free. We've got a lot of freedom, and people have got can make that decision how they're going to take care of themselves and their family. And that just, listen, lockdowns is not it doesn't fit real well within the American culture. And I mean, I remember the first night in Kenya. on the Laconia Ferry Friday night. That didn't go real well. Now Saturday night was better because people said, wow, we don't like that. We don't like the way that happened. Now we got to remember, we had a couple of people killed, young boy killed just by random gunfire. I mean, how you lead in different in each of our countries is different, and I don't think it's been a free for all. I think people have been able to make their choice as to how they protect their family, and I do believe President Trump has led well on that. I think a year from now, 2 years from now, there's going to be a lot of books written on what we did right and what we did wrong. And I think we're going to be surprised at some of the things that we just didn't notice. And we're going to know more about this disease. I mean, we know more now than we knew before. Yeah. And the vaccines, I think they're going to be out rather quickly. The United States has put billions of dollars into getting these vaccines ready as soon as possible, cutting through the red tape, cutting through the bureaucracy, and so we're going to continue to lead.
Yeah. Do you see a vaccine anytime soon, Belosi?
I think so. It's got to be safe. We can't. I don't think it's something you can rush. I think in the interim, we have to be grateful that we have some treatment, that there's ways of being treated with this steroid and with remdesivir and some of these other drugs. Yeah. And so I think we before we get there, we've got some ways of getting better. And I think we recognize how we act and how we behaved. I don't think there's any reason to fear COVID. But I think there's every reason to be proactive and take the guidance, health guidance that we've been given, and it really comes down to each of us being responsible and being responsible for our neighbor. Now, when people are getting real close and the challenge again is some people they can't afford to not live close. They just do. Yeah. If you got money, you can stay apart. But when you're having to live in a small house together with all your family, this social distancing thing doesn't really make sense. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. Because that's all you've got, and that's all the space that you can afford, and you're going out working every day just so you can pay that rent. So it's a much different challenge here than it is in the United States.
No, but up until maybe 24, 48 hours ago, Trump was going to come back, was going to be reelected. According to most critics and pundits, he was going to be reelected. What happened? What changed?
He might still be. You never know. Like I said, we're gonna go through this process and see what happens. Again, I have great confidence in the law, and when judges take the law into their own hands and create law, that's not gonna work. That's why we have legislature. That's why you have the parliament to make those laws. Judges can't make the law. And you can't have secretaries of state in the states that say, now we're just going to do things a little differently. No, that has to go through a process. And that's what we're going to see. That's what's going to play out. I mean, there's going to be a lot to learn about civics and governance in this whole process.
And the Supreme Court, which recently just appointed a new nominee, a new justice.
Yes, an exceptional one, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. But now a
woman, by the way.
A woman and exceptional.
A mom, by the way.
A Republican, by the way.
Well, yeah, the one that follows the Constitution. And I think those are great things, but it's true though. Young girls have got somebody to look up to, and so I think she'll do a great job. And the law is what she has to interpret she has to abide by that Constitution and make those decisions. These are not political decisions, and so I guess I have that confidence that we have the law and we're going to abide by the law. And if somebody stepped out of line and tried to create a law without going through the legislature, that's not going to apply. And again, we may not get it all right, but we're going to get better. And the United States knows that people are watching. You know, I was you know, I do read responses on Twitter, and I said, you know, shame, you know, you should be ashamed. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of my country. Like I know you're not ashamed of your country, and I'm honest enough to admit that we just don't get it right all the time, and when there's not peace. And when there's rioting, that's at the heart of that is hate. At the heart of that is not love. It's not taking care of your neighbor, and that really, there's no excuse for that. And so I think the United States is willing to admit we're going to get better, and this whole election process is going to be our next challenge.
Yeah, like you said, the mother of all hanging chads. But
yeah.
Let's take a look at some tweets, if we will, if you don't mind. Julius Wampua says, ask U.S. Ambassador if he has voted, or the U.S. doesn't have diaspora voting process like Kenya. Of course we voted. Absentee.
Yeah, I voted.
Yeah.
I obviously I voted for the gentleman who made me the ambassador to Kenya. That's pretty obvious.
That's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Harmonic Abbas says, what's your comment on Trump's declaration that he has already won the election without the electoral votes counting or not concluded? Is this not contrary to what the U.S. stands for in terms of democracy and transparency in the ballot?
No, I think what President Trump saw was that he was leading, and then all of a sudden, it wasn't just a trend. It was. It looked apparently like there was a dumping of votes. That none went to him. And I think you have to, when you see something like that, you say something might be irregular. And so I think he's asking the question like I would if it was my election.
And you've lost a couple yourself, right?
I've lost 3. And they're all painful. And they're all costly. Ask my wife.
Costly. Daniel Ware says, do we have a runoff in the U.S.?
No, we don't have that. Well, I say that. Some states, you got to remember, every state has their election, has their own
IEBC.
That's right, exactly. And so in fact, there will be a runoff, I believe, in Georgia, in the Senate. No, I'm sorry, Arizona in the Senate.
In the Senate.
No, but there's one state has that. And so, but nothing in regards to the presidency.
Good. Silla Flair says, as far as elections are concerned, America's way of voting was designed by the founding fathers, and it's high time they got rid of it. The majority's will is not reflected in the country. You need to redesign this. Okay.
Yeah, most of the time, the argument on the popular vote versus electoral vote comes up when someone. Typically always comes up when someone wins the popular vote and loses the electoral vote. Now, if it was opposite, they might be arguing the other way.
Right.
And so, but this is federalism. This is the way we planned it. Yeah. And we didn't want the top 10 cities in America to be determining the outcome. We want the rural areas to be represented. We want everyone in the state and we want to give the states power to decide who they're going to cast their vote for.
And tiny little states each have some share of that pie.
That's right, based on their population.
All right, it's Kipper Ting. We hope U.S. elections will be free, fair, and credible and peaceful. U.S. is an important Kenya trade partner. Having peaceful political environment is good for social, economic, and political prosperity.
Absolutely.
I guess it is, Kipper Ting. Maybe we should send some peacekeepers. Bonnie Bon. His Excellency Kyle Makata has nurtured me in many ways. If this tweet reaches him, let him know I'm happy to hear his perspective of BBI. What will happen if Trump loses? Is there a possibility of violence? Bonnie Bon?
I hope. We hope there's no violence. It's just, again, we just need to pray for peace and do everything we can to follow the law and be patient.
Yeah.
We have to have the confidence that the law is there for a reason, and we're committed to abiding by it. Both sides are, and whatever the outcome, it is.
You worried, Pelosi? Are you worried?
I'm not worried. No, I'm not worried. I just, this is, as we grow up as individuals, we grow up as families. Sometimes you get some tough times, but you get through it. I think our country will get through this. We will still be a country at the end of this, just as Kenya will still be a country at the end of their next election. And but we're going to do everything we can to make it fair and make it peaceful.
Yeah. Not only people around the country, but particularly Tharaka Nithi.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a shout out there to the people. What do you tell your people out there? Your home people?
Just greet them.
Yeah.
No, I'm fortunate to be in this situation, and even during a challenging time like this, I think we just have to stay positive. And even on Twitter, I try to stay positive. I don't tolerate people bad mouthing my president, because I only say positive things about Kenya's president. And if I see something I don't like, I just shut up. And so I just think we've got to be positive. We got to understand that we're going to make a mistake once in a while, but we'll go forward. And I think the United States and Kenya will be some of that friendship will last. It will last over time, and the result of it is going to be prosperity for both of us.
Pelosi, I love your positivity, if you will.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on the show on this day when we still don't know who the next president of the United States is.
We'll get through it.
You look at you say that so casually.
We will.
If it was here, Hakietu. Good to see you, Pelosi. Thanks for your time, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate that. All right, folks, you heard it from the U.S.'s top diplomat in Kenya, Ambassador Kyle McCarter. We still don't know who the next U.S. president is going to be, but Ambassador says here, stay calm.
Yeah.
We'll get over this. That's it. Who are we to question after where we've come from? Thanks so much for joining us tonight, folks. Remember, every Wednesday it's all about those three letters on the keyboard that follow each other. JKL, right here at Citizen Television. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag JKLIVE. Good night, good luck, and God bless the USA. Thanks, Pelosi.